Yeah, you know what, if I'm really honest, like, I'm not doing really well. And I don't like feeling like this. You know, I started this honest catch up as a sort of check-in around like mental wellness, and it's been sort of this really affirming space to be able to talk openly and transparently about my mental wellness, because that's something that's really important to me. And I guess for all of you on the channel, it's been really amazing to see you engage with it. And often these spaces have been very sort of like well and I guess joyful in a particular way. And for the first time in a long time, I don't feel that. I don't feel at peace. I don't feel rested. I do not feel well. I don't feel like I have it together. So there are these patterns that start emerging like in my life, like in cycles, right? And a large part of that has to do with this end of year period, which usually is around October, November, start of December. And that's particularly around like work stress. It feels like so many people are trying to, you know, wrap up their final projects, their assignments. They're trying to study for exams. Places of work are trying to, you know, cram the last bit of work that they can into the year, because, you know, they've got all these sort of targets that they need to meet, and it creates like this pressure in this October, November, December period just to get everything done. And that sort of pressure then starts impacting negatively my emotional and mental well-being. And I don't like it. So to sort of generalize this a little bit, as a creative who works in a creative industry, who works on creative projects, that is like my bread and butter. It's what I do for a living, right? Often the best work comes out of a space of creation, comes out of a place of no pressure, comes out of a space of being able to have room to explore, have room to think about interesting and creative ideas, to, I don't know, create something that looks visually and is engaging for a viewer. And film, particularly for me, is an interesting space because I need the time and the ability to be able to churn out good stuff. And I pride myself on like my work product. But when you have these like pressures to produce, deadlines looming, having to deliver on certain stuff, there's a bit of like a sacrifice that needs to be made somewhere. And so it creates this weird inversely proportional relationship between producing a great product that requires no pressure, a creative space and time, versus the managing of like a deadline, versus having to deliver a certain product within a certain time frame. And then you add additional pressure on that because everybody's trying to get their things done before the end of the year. So one of those two things has to give. You can't have a good creative product under like a really harsh and tight deadline. Like that doesn't really work. You can't have a good, strong creative product and have that sort of pressure with that deadline and everything and have that rushed. So the two don't meet like that. Like one has to give. You need the space and the time to deliver a good product. And if not, the product's not going to be really great. And so much of my professional pride rests on delivering good work and creating good work. It makes me feel good. It's why I love filmmaking. It's why I like telling stories, because I'm able to create something for people to watch who can feel something. And that's a very difficult thing to do when you're not feeling it, you know? Like when you're feeling like you're in a creative rut, when you're feeling like you're, you know, treading water and you seem fine on the outside, and beneath the surface it's complete and utter chaos. And I know that's a little specific to myself, but I think that also has translations into like other jobs, into other spheres of your life. It's also that kind of thing when everything is going like crazy in your workspace. One of the things that starts to suffer in my life is my social life, is my relationships, and they take strain, and I can feel it, you know? Okay, it looks like the sunshine's gone away because, you know, filming in natural light, and I feel like that's appropriate for this content at the moment. So let's see if we can just brighten this up a little bit. Like last night, I did not sleep well at all. I had dreams related to work stress, which is something that never ever happens to me. I am usually calm, collected, am able to compartmentalize really, really well, but last night was difficult. And on top of that, I woke up at about 4 a.m. My alarm is only set to go off at 6:30. And I couldn't fall asleep because the only thing that I could think about, and my brain was so overwhelmed with thinking about like work and work stress. And that for me was like a red flag. Alarm bells were ringing, and I was like, I need to change something. Like this is not working for me. Usually my dream space is very fictional and very outrageous, and I get some of my like inspiration from these thoughts that are like mulling over while I'm sleeping, but not like this. Dreaming about work stress, that's a problem. So at this juncture in my life, I have no practical advice for anyone because I have nothing figured out. The thing that I can share with you are the things that I am telling myself, the tips and the things that I am trying to implement in my own life to try and manage that and deal with that. The first being setting boundaries. I suppose it's really difficult for me because I kind of like what I do, and so setting boundaries does become a little bit of an issue for me, because I just want to be in it, and I really, really do love what I do, but that is starting to not be the case now. I'm starting to not love the work and creating stuff because of this stress. So implementing firm boundaries around what it is that you're willing to take on, what is it that you can and can't do, your time then becomes like such an important thing. And I've been trying to say this to myself quite often, that when I'm off the clock, I'm off the clock. I need to not think about work. I need to not do work. I need to not engage with it, so that I can create some sense of distance between the thing that is the stressor in my life and the rest of my life, because I don't want those two things to start bleeding into one another. And I think that's like a recipe for resentment and unhappiness. So setting boundaries around time and effort is really, really important for me at this point in time. So I'm going to try and do that, because the sort of flip side to that conversation is around creating boundaries and parameters in your social life. In my space, I am deeply introverted, and while I'm here on YouTube and I am outgoing and I'm like love talking to camera and love sharing things with people, I am still deeply introverted. And so being around people and engaging with people starts to take a particular toll. And I have learned over time that I need to say no to certain things, that I need to step back from social engagements, from hanging out with friends, from being in a public space. As much as I get all of the FOMO for the things, I know that in the long run, that's going to benefit me, as opposed to saying yes now because I really, really want to go out. But the next day and possibly like the next week and into the next month, I'm feeling so exhausted and drained because of that. And like sometimes you just have to like make the hard choice to do the thing that's better for you in the long run. And that's a really difficult thing for me to do because it's the end of the year and all these parties are happening, and I love the queer events and I love going to the clubs. But Wusa. Linked to that is also choosing your people and choosing them wisely. Choosing people who are understanding of who you are and what you need. For so many people, I think they take it personally when people say no to them. I think they feel offended when, you know, somebody declines an invitation or doesn't want to hang out. And it often isn't about you on the receiving end of that. It's about the person trying to make a decision that's best for them in that moment. And for me, I've tried to create a group, a community of people who understand that there are times where I'm going to, you know, not want to go out. There are times when I'm going to say no. My friends always joke with me and they say, like, it's impossible to peer pressure Zoey into anything. And it is true, because I've tried to practice this in my life. Whenever I'm feeling uncomfortable about a thing or I don't want to do a thing, I will not do it. I will say no. And even though it's something silly as like, oh, let's go for a drink, or oh, let's have another shot. And I'm like, no, I don't want. And they go like, dude, come on. And I'm like, no. So I'm very adamant about that, about creating those spaces where I'm able to say no. And if people can't deal with that, that's their problem. Like, I can't take responsibility for that. The only thing that I can do is try and manage my own space and my own peace. You see, it's gone like super bright outside, and I feel like, again, it's appropriate to the context of this video because I'm actually feeling a little bit lighter now that I'm talking about stuff. The last thing that I sort of try to keep in the back of my mind is that I do need to prioritize like time for myself and doing things that I enjoy outside the context of other people. And this is like something small that I can do in my everyday space, whether that's like taking time to cook. And I love cooking. So it's a kind of therapy for me. So taking the time to make a delicious dinner or a delicious lunch. Taking the time to go out and just get an ice cream. But finding those little moments where you're able to do the thing on your own, even if that's just chilling in bed and watching a series that you love, a series that you've seen like 50 times before. There is a degree of comfort and a degree of peace that can come with that. So taking time for yourself is really important, and a very like key thing to like wellness, I think, in general. And in addition to managing things by yourself, you can also like get help from like external people. So like if you're wanting to see like a psychologist or a therapist or someone to talk to, I feel like that's really important. And I have been thinking about potentially getting back into therapy again, just so that I have a space to process these things, because sometimes they do get a lot. And one of those tools that you can use to, you know, improve your mental wellness, improve your mental literacy, is the collaborator on today's video, who is Big Sis. Big Sis is an incredible online chatbot that has been helping so many young people here in South Africa access information about relationships, about sex, and about mental health literacy. The platform is an AI-powered chatbot that allows you to ask all of those questions that you've been dying to ask about your body, about relationships, about your mental health, in a safe and secure space. I honestly wish I had something like this when I was growing up, because it would have helped me so much. It's been a wild success over the last couple of years, and I've had my own conversations with Big Sis, and it is pretty darn accurate and really helpful. And I think the thing that I love the most about it is the level of, I guess, trust that I have with the information. I've done my Googles about some of the responses and things that I've gotten, and it is on the money. Like, the information is really accurate and it feels so organic. And I guess the best part is that it's completely private and safe. So head to the description in this video to chat to Big Sis on WhatsApp and on Facebook Messenger. And you can ask her all of the questions that you need to in a safe, secure, and private environment. Thanks so much, Big Sis, for collaborating with me on this video. All right, my lovelies, I am in desperate need of coffee before I start this work day. As always, if you've been enjoying this content, please leave me a thumbs up. I would really appreciate that. And if you are not already subscribed to this channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you're in the loop for when we upload more videos. And I'll see all of you in the next one. Ciao.